Alright guys, I just finished up my Killmat sound deadening install video, which involved taking out all the seats and the carpet and some plastic moldings. If you need help with that for your new carpet install, refer to my Killmat video. It shows all that. So for this new carpet install video, it'll just be installing the new carpet, cutting it to trim, and putting in one seat. I'm not showing installing all the seats and putting the molding back in because I have a future video which is going to be installing a whole new sound system, and so I want the carpet just laying in there loose so I have access to lay new wiring for that. Alright, we're finally done with the Killmat install, so the next obvious conclusion is to put in new carpet, because the old carpet looks like this. That's the underneath. Top side is worse. Anyway, it's 25 years old and it's shot. That was stock. The product I went with was from ACCmats.com and employee owned and operated, proudly made USA. I went with, there's so much red inside that cab. I decided to go with gray because I think gray looks good next to red, or whatever color you call that, burgundy. It was supposed to come with pre-cut spots for the AC to the rear, which comes out these moldings. Anyway, I'm gonna open this up, lay it down, and put the old one on top of it, because you cannot buy a new, by the way, this is molded carpet, otherwise I wouldn't buy it. You cannot buy a molded carpet with pre-cut holes for a 97 Chevy K1500. So look at the instructions. It's 97 to 99 extended cab with rear air. I have a K1500, does not matter. C and K are the same, I hope. It may be necessary to use old carpet as a template for console cuts. So, the guy who bought this and left a 1-star review, I do agree with him that they could have made the mention of that on the product when you're buying it a little more obvious, but it was there and it's in the instructions. The rear AC vents, yeah, they have that part molded, but you still have to cut it. One thing I'm concerned about is the seats. The old seats, there's the old carpet, had these underneath the bolts. So if I can find them all, I'm gonna try and put those underneath the carpet. So I guess next I need to lay this greasy old carpet on top of the new one. I have to use this old one as a template. So I made a diagram of the old carpet. Here's all the holes. You got left seat 4 holes, right seat 4 holes, center console 2 really big holes, 2 square holes for the seat belt to the left and right of the center console. Farther to the left and the right of the console is the air vents, which I have to cut. And then the rear column where the seat belt fastens into, I have to make this double cut, kind of like a little zigzag and then a square cut out both sides. And then you go back further and you get a circle and a square. I'm assuming that's for the spare tire jack assembly unit. I'm not entirely sure I want to keep that, but think about that later. And then in the rear there's 2 U-shaped cutouts and then 2 bolts to the left and right of those. have the old carpet on top of the new, and it's worse than I thought. Look at all that excess. It's a ton. So I'm going to outline the perimeter to cut off with this painter's tape. Hopefully it stays on. Okay, so that's the perimeter. Now real quick, we'll do the holes. Changed my mind, this this painter's tape is working great. That marks the circle. Next up is the 4 front passenger seat bolts. This carpet is disgusting. Use your fingernails for that, would you? You can see my, helps to have green gloves. You can see my finger go through. Not exact, but should work. Now this I can do from the top, which is amazing. That's the air vents for the rear. Here is the bolt for the center console, I think. I have a bad feeling that my center of gravity's off, but it's okay, we're just going for a rough guide. Center console needs a big hole, surprisingly big. Two of them actually. Four more seat holes. I'm gonna it's good. Good. Push away the disgusting matting. God, matches. Under the rear. This is for the jack storage compartment, I believe. I'm surprised the circle's this big. I'm surprised this other other part for the jack compartment. You got two very small bolt holes.
Oh jeez, I couldn't even see them.
Did I get all the holes? I think I did. So now I'm going to pull this back. Hopefully, don't pull the tape up. Real quick, press this tape back in. I reattached the rear air harness. See these two holes? That's where the air comes out into the extended cab. You have to jam it into the air vent for that. And this geniusly designed piece gets the job done. Anyway, a lot of this wiring, like the black tape was just like hanging on by a thread, so I trimmed it off and retaped. A lot of the wiring was showing, so I put black tape around it. So on YouTube I only found one video for this model truck, and it was the regular cab. So this video, as far as I know, doesn't exist, and I've never done this before, so it should be interesting. And I don't have a proper carpet cutting tool. I'm going to try a razor blade. So now we're going to pause, and then he's going to help me put the carpet in here. Just kind of lay it inside. Here's the thing I'm a little worried about. I don't remember unhooking anything from these two things coming out of the wiring harness, so I have no idea what they're for. And so I'm just going to kind of like prop them here. The carpet should lay right over them, but it's good to know they're there and I have it documented. I taped over here to kind of keep it in place, and then this wiring harness, I taped it right here. There's a bunch of sticky gook underneath the floor pedal, or the accelerator pedal, assuming to keep it from getting in the way of your foot. Other than that, I think we're ready to throw the carpet in. Alright, so we started fitting it from the middle, and that wasn't working too good. I mean, the video I looked at that told me to do that was a regular cab, so this is much harder. I trimmed quite a bit of material based on my blue line out, and this notch here in the center I think is the key, so I can jam this material way up in the firewall. Okay, so I have so much excess, and you can see I'm still 3 inches away from that target point for the column seatbelt is, and I got about not quite 3 inches of, so I think I need to trust my blue line is the moral of the story. So I'm gonna probably pull this out and cut the blue line. Alright, as discussed, we're cutting on the outer edge of the blue perimeter line we made previously.
Alright, it's the next day. We have some daylight to work on this now. The carpet's had a day to just kind of settle inside its new home. We're pretty close on all the edges, but I need to trim. Probably what I should have did originally is trim on the inner side of that blue line, just like the old carpet was, but I'm just following advice other people have told me. Okay, the hardest part is underneath the dash here. The spot right here, I could not get the carpet in there, so I had to use the door trim tool to like jam it in there. There's maybe 1/4 of an inch of play up underneath here, so you got to be careful. This lip is going to pop out at the slightest change in shifting the carpet. And I take it back, there is most definitely a molding right here down through the middle. Everywhere else is pretty much just straight up carpet. You can see my passenger side, the carpet is, oh my god, you can't even see anything. It's like perfect. The driver's side, there's a lot of stuff under there not meant to be covered, so I mean that's looking pretty good too. We're getting close. Another tip when cutting this carpet, don't take your razor blade from the top. You got to take it from the bottom, cut it from the bottom side, and it cuts like butter. From the top, you're gonna struggle and struggle. Here's a rough idea of what you're dealing with on these side step pieces. They cover up quite a bit of carpet, you know, like 2 inches. And I still have a lot of fluff in here I need to get rid of, so I can easily shave off another inch all the way across this line and not even come close to it popping out from underneath this step board. So I'll make an upside down cut right here and another right here, and then we'll go all the way along lengthwise. Okay, there's the piece we cut out. Now under the floor pedal here, I've got a poofy issue. I may have to just do a slice right here, V out a little chunk, and then overlap it and actually put some glue in here in this spot, because I don't want carpet flapping around my accelerator. Same thing along this line. I got too much poofiness going in the middle here, so I have to trim the longest edges about 1 inch off all the way down. So I've gotten some of the poof out, but now my cutout here for the seat belt needs to get deeper again, so I have to adjust that as well. Alright, trimming down the passenger side is a little more difficult because we have some insulation underneath here that's getting in the way, so I'm gonna try scissors on that. Sure enough, the good old-fashioned scissors, kitchen scissors, worked perfectly. Don't tell my wife I used it. I'll wash it before I cook with it. Okay, so in the end, instead of cutting this above the runner board line, I just decided to notch it out like so, just because there's so much of that insulation in there, and the insulation's at a premium, so I want to keep as much of that as possible. Alright, I cannot wait anymore to deal with this monstrosity of a bolt that holds the spare tire, that big long 8-inch bolt. So I'm gonna jam the carpet up to the base of it, just create a small hole and cut it. But first I'm going to compare the old hole. Looks like they went with a 2x2 inch square. So just for now I'm going to start with just a small kind of an X slice, a plus sign slice. So I made a plus sign cut, lifted the carpet way up, put it over the bolt, and I don't even have a hole right now, but I'm gonna try and do a real tiny hole, you know, the more carpet the better, just so you can see the nut in there, not that anybody ever has a tool to remove that thing. Same thing, this edge was a little long, so it was bubbling up. So I'm gonna cut 1/2 inch off that, and it should be snug. Okay, same thing on the very, very back piece. It's too long, so I'm gonna cut off 2/3 of an inch there. The seat belts in the extended cab, same thing. I have this flare going on, so I'm not even gonna look at the old hole. I'm just gonna like cut a little V out on both sides. Now that the flare is bent down, I'm just gonna bend this down as close as I can get to the metal and make a cut that way. With that cut made, I'll do the same thing, flare it back, make another cut. With that cut made, I'll do one last cut, flare it back. Final cut, one more flare back, we're just gonna go straight across. And that's what she looks like. Of course, the last corner is giving me the biggest trouble. It's just poofy everywhere. We got air pockets in here. It's not lining up right here. No matter which way if I try to maybe cut that, then I get more of a bubble here. So I have to figure out some sort of adjustment to do here. So I massaged the heck out of it in different variations, and what I came up with was kind of like a comb over here for the excess. And then it seems to sit pretty good. I mean, all this is going to be under the seat and you'll never ever see it again. So if I have to, I'll put some glue underneath this corner and then some glue underneath the corner by the accelerator. Other than that, I'm going to show you the whole perimeter here. It's turning out pretty good. Next, we'll be cutting out holes for the seats, seat belts, and center console, and then I'll be ready to put the seats back in. Alright, since I'm recording by myself and doing the work myself today, I needed to prove to you of all the cuts I've made. As you can see on the floor here. Okay, just to remind myself what it looks like with the driver's side floor mat in. This thing is huge. Like, honestly, with your seats in and the mats in, on the at least in the front part of the truck, I mean, you're only going to see about 40% of the carpet that you've laid. Now in the back, it's going to be the same. So overall, about, I'd say 60% of your carpet is never going to be seen. Maybe even closer to 75%. So don't get too worked up over issues like that or that, but I am going to glue that anyway. Okay, I got my helper back. Thanks, Connor. I have both rear air vents cut out, and I'm bleeding. And I have the center console rear clip and front bolts cut out, and the seat belt Torx hole is kind of cut out. I'm hoping it'll work. It became evident that I needed to do the center console before I try to do the seats, mounting the stuff back in. So I'm gonna go grab the center console right now. Center console! But it bunched up the carpet, so that's no good. Can't have that. It's gonna throw off every cut I made. Try my carpet tool. I just need to make sure it doesn't bunch the carpet back Look at that. Oh, crap. I'm lined up. Hey. Bill.
What is
the plastic, the door panel tool to the rescue. I was able to, if you bring your camera back here, as I was sliding it back, I kept pressing the carpet underneath these seams so it wouldn't bunch up. Because the first time I did it, it shifted all of this carpet back about 2 inches. So now if you look down in here, straight down, our holes line up. I'll go grab the bolts real quick. Okay, assembly time. 10 mil. We're not going all the way tight, we're just going semi-snug. Because this carpet is like a moving target. Every little thing you do and everything changes. Okay, we're gonna put in the driver's side towards the middle seat harness. The bolt is right adjacent to the center console, and my rear AC vent lets me see where the bolt should go, and I can line it up. Which I've done. However, we have this electrical connector. So now I'm going to pull this up, come down here.
It's a little dark.
Can you see that?
Yep.
Here's the seat, and here's the seat belt electrical
Got it.
connector. So what I'm not entirely sure is if I should go. Actually, there's a hole here, which I'm not going to use. Anyway, I'm wondering if I go through the AC vent, that might be the best route. I'm gonna vote yes. So, see how that nicely. Oh yeah, definitely that's the way to go. So, pause for a sec, I'm gonna get the Torx bit.
One.
T50 Torx. And like I told you, we're not going fully tight until this carpet is 100% good to go. So, align the clip. Boom, attached. Now, if I can find it, my rear AC vent should pop on here. Ideally, without breaking my wiring harness. Let's see if I can get some slack on it. It's on there. Screw it, I'm just gonna tighten it in. I'm hand tightening it, and I'm pretty strong, so when it's tight, you know it's tight. So this, I believe I can cleverly hide within the flap, that's what she said, of that, which I just did. Okay, looks good. Looks pretty good. Things you never knew existed in your vehicle, you know about now. Okay.
One.
Here's the big boy drill bit. We're gonna use it for the seat. All four of those holes, both sides. I originally used this to drill holes in the concrete. That was
Okay, that makes sense.
holding water. Anyway.
Oh,
Careful.
jeez. Oh. Oh. Oh, what is that? is happening?
It's binding in the fiberglass padding. Now we just got to clean up this hole a little bit.
Oh, that is impossible to get in.
We're ready to reuse these hallowed seat bushing support squares. That's what I'm calling them.
Okay.
Basically, they'll go underneath each of the 4 holes. So I'm gonna grab the seat now. All right, I got the driver's seat in at a tilt. I'm gonna go with the first bolt. This one seems to be the easiest to get to. I'm gonna put my Cure Cancer square in there, and then I'm gonna grab a bolt. There we go. So you get the idea. I'm gonna have somebody go in the back there and hold the seat, which happens to be my cameraman, so pause it. Okay, we decided to back up a little bit here. The driver's side connector, I don't want that going up alongside the 4 bolt holes, and the previous carpet did that apparently, because I looked at the old carpet, there was no other hole for this. So I'm cutting a new hole for it. I'm improving the design. If you look underneath here, let's just go straight up, and then we'll avoid the seat moving up and back because it'll be in the middle. Okay, so harness goes through here. I'm gonna connect that. Pause it and connect it, because I'm just one person, man. I can't clone myself. Time for the front seat rear right bolt. So I am going to put the gaskets here. If you look underneath there, there's no insulation barrier.
Yeah.
So if we go back to the front right bolt, there was a padded insulation under here, and the bolt over here. And what was happening is when I was screwing the bolt in, the insulation was wrapping around the threads of the bolt, and it was like 3 hands, 100 hands were like gripping onto my bolt, and I couldn't get it to go in. So I had to like actually go up underneath and like trim out a 2-inch square of the insulation out, so that it wouldn't inhibit me from screwing the bolt back in. Anyway, we're going to use these 2 here because it'll be super easy. Okay, bolts in. It's going through the carpet. If you get lower, you can see how I've found the hole. Okay, I got the rubber gasket in both of these bolts, just because I had no insulation underneath the carpet layer, and I had a third helper. I'm actually tightening these all the way so I can do a test drive and a sound test to finish off my kill mat install video. Blah, 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 blah. This is the video for the carpet install. Ready? And here we go. Okay. Rewind.